This is the Scuba Educational Alliance Ocean Podcast, Episode 32. The Scuba Educational Alliance Ocean Podcast is a bi-weekly podcast dedicated to the world of scuba diving, ocean health, sustainability, and fostering a new generation of ocean stewards through diving education. Hello again, everyone, and as always, thank you for tuning in. I'm Jeff Centropino, founder and president of the Scuba Educational Alliance of Connecticut, and we're on a mission to foster a new generation of ocean stewards through scuba diving education and training for young people. We know that diving is an expensive activity, and by breaking down these financial barriers, we hope to get the next generation diving and create that new generation of ocean ambassadors. Well, I certainly trust that you had a good Thanksgiving holiday weekend for all those here in the U.S. and that everyone made it through Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, and Giving Tuesday. What a week. And I did see that there were a lot of travel issues across much of the country with some wicked winter weather causing flight delays and cancellations. Glad I didn't have to deal with any of that. The furthest I got was over to the dive shop on Small Business Saturday. Now for the big game. Army-Navy was this past weekend, and what a hard-fought game. Seems that no matter what the records, the game is usually close, and there really isn't a favorite. Very happy that Navy prevailed. 1 point is as close as it gets. Now, we have a tradition here at the house that when Navy wins the Army-Navy game, our Bill the Goat Christmas ornament goes to the top of the tree. And it's nice to see Bill on top. So we're only 2 weeks away from the start of the new year, and we get to start all over in 2026 with our plans and resolutions. But before we look ahead, however, today I want to take a look back at 2025. 2025 would be my first full year since fully retiring, so I wasn't exactly sure what to expect. But guess what? It was busy and rewarding. You know that here on the podcast, we talk a lot about the environment and specifically how there are so many threats to the ocean. Whether it be pollution, destructive practices, overfishing, or climate change, the perils are relentless. And in January 2025, we entered into another all-out assault with the inauguration of Donald Trump for a second term. But this time would be a lot different. From day one, we witnessed a disregard for any semblance of good stewardship when it came to the planet. January 2025 was certainly a dark month, darker than many with the cloud that spread over our country. That did not, however, deter us from our mission and moving forward. In January, we also announced our 2025 scholarship programs. We've revamped our approach by offering 2 different scholarships. To get high school students involved in scuba diving, we developed our Ocean Steward 1 Open Water Training Scholarship, and then to keep young people involved in diving, we created the Ocean Steward 2 Advanced Open Water Scholarship. Applications opened up in February, and we awarded 3 scholarships at the end of March. The program was a huge success as we then partnered with Scuba Shack in Newington, Connecticut, and Enfield Scuba and Water Sports in Enfield, Connecticut, to deliver the training. It was truly rewarding to see the enthusiasm and dedication of our recipients as they started or continued their journey as ocean stewards. In March, it was time to head up to Danvers, Massachusetts for the 71st Annual Boston Sea Rovers International Ocean Symposium and Film Festival. I started attending the show when I first started diving, and back then it was held in downtown Boston at the Copley Plaza. Well, as you can imagine, hosting a show in downtown Boston is quite expensive, so it shifted to the North Shore several years ago. Back in 2019, I started to help the Sea Rovers with the show. Now, I look forward to the show each year, and 2025 proved to be another great one. By April, it had been almost 6 months since I was diving, and that just felt too long. I needed to get back in the water and get ready for our Dive Pirates trip in June. More on that in a minute. So Donna and I decided to head down to Key Largo for a couple of days of diving right after Memorial Day. And by the way, it would be an opportunity for us to celebrate our 42nd wedding anniversary. Now, it's a quick trip for us from Connecticut with direct flights to either Miami or Fort Lauderdale. I prefer Fort Lauderdale. I find the airport a little easier to navigate when getting a rental car. The drive to Key Largo isn't that much longer. We got in 4 dives, just enough to get tuned up, and had a chance to visit the History of Diving Museum in Islamorada. And now it was time to become a dive pirate. In June, we headed down to Cayman Brac for our week of diving with Dive Pirates. In episode 21 from July 3rd, I talked at length about the Dive Pirates, their program, and how rewarding it was to participate in such a meaningful program. Donna and I received our SDI Scubility Adaptive Dive Buddy certification, and we are now ready for more. We'll be joining Dive Pirates again in June of 2026. This time we're headed to Bonaire for a week of diving at Divi Flamingo, and it will definitely feel like another homecoming. Another project that I took on this year was as a volunteer for the Historical Diving Society's membership committee. Our work over the summer was to look at the development of a new website for the society. The work is ongoing, and it's always interesting to meet and work with new people from the diving community. Everyone has a passion for some aspect of diving, whether it be the history of the sport, commercial diving, military diving, or just plain recreational scuba like me. In July, we again partnered with our friends at Scuba Shack and attended a local event, the Newington Extravaganza. This event is kind of like a 4-day fair for the town, and on Saturday of the weekend, they have vendors and exhibitors come in to sell their stuff or get their message out to the public. We spent the whole day there interacting with folks and getting our message out to the local community. Fortunately, the weather was absolutely spectacular with clear, sunny skies and very low humidity. Not bad for July 19th here in Connecticut. By October, it was time to head out to the Far East, really Far East. Back when we owned the dive shop, we planned a trip out to Lembe. It was quite interesting how we actually settled on that location. Originally, our plan back in 2023 was to head out to the Red Sea in October 2025. Yes, we do have to plan several years in advance. We had our date set and we were ready to lock in the boat. Right before I paid the deposit, October 7th happened, and it seemed like that whole part of the world had a degree of uncertainty and risk that I felt many of our clients would not want to take on. So I headed out to the DEMA show in New Orleans in November 2023 to find a replacement destination. At first, I thought we could go back to the Philippines and stay at Atlantis, but when we polled our customers, they told us they wanted something different in that part of the world, and that would be dive into Lembe on North Sulawesi in Indonesia. But I still wanted to go back to Atlantis, so Donna and I tacked on an additional week to head up to the Philippines. It was a fantastic trip, and diving over in the Coral Triangle sort of spoils you. There is so much life and color. It was a long trip, 3 weeks away from home, but wow, it was worth it. For all the details on that trip, you can check out episode 29, Let's Dive into Lembe in the Philippines. We got home on Halloween, and that meant there was only a week until I needed to head to Orlando for the DEMA show. I like when the show is in Orlando. It's a direct flight for me from Hartford and only takes about 3 hours to get there. I thought I would be heading to some warm weather, but Orlando had several days of fairly cold weather, for them anyway. Some mornings the temperature was down in the 30s. Glad I packed some warmer clothes. DEMA was a big success for the industry. There was a lot of energy, and I was particularly happy to see quite a few young folks attending. We know as a diving community we need to get more young people into the sport and into the industry as dive professionals, particularly dive shop owners. Now, I'm also finishing up my 3-year term this month on the DEMA Board of Directors. I've been fortunate to have been nominated for a second term. The election kicked off at the DEMA show and runs through mid-January, and I'm looking forward to serving again should the membership vote me in. One of the things that I recognize is that while our mission is to focus on young men and women and getting them into scuba diving, there is still a need to get the word out about ocean health and sustainability to a broader audience. So I decided to sponsor a coral conservation course in partnership with Scuba Shack. What a success. The space is filled up within a day, and we met on a snowy Saturday morning earlier this month for the Marine Ecosystems and Coral Awareness session. It was rewarding to see the enthusiasm and engagement. People, for the most part, want to protect the planet and the oceans. It's sad to see that a minority of people who deny science, ignore facts, and have a disregard for the earth are making the decisions that are going to be difficult to undo. But that can't stop us from getting the word out about the perils facing the oceans and the things that we can do to help. As we entered December, we kicked off our year-end donor challenge. Like all nonprofits, fundraising is the way we are able to deliver the programs that support our mission. Our board of directors has issued a challenge. We will match any donation dollar for dollar during the month of December. Our patrons can now double their impact by supporting our cause. I'm hoping to have to write a big personal check before the end of the year, so please consider donating before the year end. It's simple. Go to our website, www.seact.org, and hit the donate button. So now, as we come to the end of another year, it's hard to believe that 2025 has only a few days left. As I move forward into 2026, I've decided to end the Scuba Educational Alliance Ocean podcast. When I started this podcast, I thought I could pick up where I left off with Scuba Shack Radio. Now, I did over 140 bi-weekly episodes of that podcast spanning more than 5 years. That was a lot of fun, a lot of work, and quite rewarding, as it really did support the work that we were doing at the dive shop. With this podcast, however, it was a bit of a challenge to gain traction. So it is time to move on from podcasting. Even though I do this show every 2 weeks, it does take a significant amount of time to ensure that I have the material prepared. By ending Scuba Educational Alliance Ocean podcasts, I'll be able to free up that time to provide additional focus and energies for the nonprofit, as well as maybe some blogs and magazine articles, as I still write for Scuba Diving Industry Magazine. That's also going to allow me to spend more time with the YouTube channels, both my own Jeff Cincerpino channel and the Scuba Educational Alliance of Connecticut's channel. Who knows? Maybe someday I'll be doing something like the podcast on video. You never know. But for now, I'm going to take a break from the airways. For those who have subscribed to or listened to the podcast, thank you. I hope that I did something of value. It's been fun. I'm wishing all of you a very Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year. And with that, goodbye from the Scuba Educational Alliance Ocean Podcast. This has been the Scuba Educational Alliance Ocean Podcast, a show dedicated to the world of scuba diving, ocean health, sustainability, and fostering a new generation of ocean stewards through diving education. Talk to you again real soon.